Hey everyone, I'm Drewski. This is Danny the Mouth, and we are the Royal Fumblers. We're going to talk about the AFC West today, and we're going to start off with the Denver Broncos. Denver Broncos, they need to unlock. All right, I'm just going to say that I think it's about time for them to unlock. Uh, as much as I want to believe in Drew Lock, I think that he's injury prone. He doesn't seem to have the leadership. He doesn't get the ball out fast enough. And what an upgrade it would be if Aaron Rodgers came in and played for a quarterback and hosted Jeopardy. I'm just saying, it would be a big deal for the city, for the good city and the good state of Colorado.
Look, I'm going to tell you right now, Denver's in no position to try to get Aaron Rodgers. Would he be a good fit there? Yes, he really would. But they're in no position to get Aaron Rodgers. Now, with that being said, they're going to have to go with Teddy Bridgewater. I don't care what anyone says, that is your best solution there at quarterback. He is a proven veteran that just finds ways to win. You know, he probably would have had more success in Carolina if he would have had a better running game behind him. Why Carolina thinks Sam Donald's better than him, I have no idea. See, Teddy is the quarterback that's not going to throw the ball 80 yards for you in one throw, but he's going to run that clock down and get you all the way down there to get some points. And when you look at between him and Drew Lock, it's going to be Teddy.
I agree.
Running back. So this is where I start getting very disappointed. You know, Melvin Gordon, you sat out a whole year so you could go ahead and get traded and, get a huge contract, and you have done nothing since you've been in Denver. You've been injured, and then when you haven't been injured, you're just not doing anything. And I'm starting to see a trend here with running backs that set out to get a new contract. Him and Le'Veon Bell.
Well, him and Le'Veon Bell, yeah. But to Denver's defense, they did draft a early second-round running back in Javonte Williams, which some say he's got some of the highest ceiling of any of a lot of the running backs. So I feel like that Melvin Gordon Javonte Williams split is not a terrible running game for them.
Yeah, but here's the other thing they're missing. Denver hasn't really had an offensive line. And, that's been a big issue, too, for, I'm criticizing Gordon and Locke, but at the same time, they really haven't had an offensive line to help them out. Locke's running for his life. Melvin Gordon and even Lindsey and Freeman have not been able to do anything just because there's nowhere to go.
No, you're absolutely right. I will say that they drafted, the only thing they did to upgrade is the third round. They got Quinn Miners, offensive guard from Wisconsin, Whitewater. I don't think that's enough. Everything else they did, they defended. They have tons. They put a lot into safeties and cornerbacks, linebackers, lots and lots of defense, but no offensive line. That stated, they have some playmakers on their team in Jerry Jeudy, in Cortland Sutton, and Noah Fant, the tight end, that they can do some stuff. But you're right. They're not going to get anything done as long as they don't have an offensive line. If they can't give, even if they give Teddy, who check down Teddy, time to do anything, even he can't make something happen,
Well, I'm going to give you some knowledge right here. There's not one player on that Denver offense that's over the age of 30. The oldest offensive player on that team right now is 28. That is a young team. That means most of your guys have only been playing for 6 to 7 years in the NFL. That might sound like a lot, but it really isn't, because you're only talking about a handful of guys that have been in the league. When you look at it, I'm going to give you some ages here. Quarterbacks, you got 3 quarterbacks total. 2 of them are 24 years old. That means they've only been in the league for 2 years, maybe 3 tops. Your running backs, your oldest one is Melvin Gordon at 28. Your wide receivers, your oldest one is 27. when you get down to tight end, your oldest tight end is 25.
Yeah, it's a young team. It was even younger last year. But we're going to see, I don't know. This is a buyer beware situation. They need to strongly develop their offensive line.
I mean, I would consider taking Gordon for a flex option down the road, or have him as my third running back to fit in there for buys. But Noah Fant is probably the only other person on that offense I would even consider drafting, just because Teddy's going to have to check down a lot.
If I got a lot of value, I could see a Cortland Sutton. I think he's an underrated pass catcher, but I don't trust this offense. I agree with you. I would definitely get Noah Fant at value, which I think he's being drafted in the 70s, the mid 70s at this point. But he's the only one I would draft at that value. Everyone else, I think Cortland Sutton is in the 50s. I would probably hold off on him for a round or so. I would probably hold off on Jerry Jeudy, just because unless you can get them the ball, they're useless. You can't do anything with that talent if you can't get them the ball. Javonte Williams, I would probably grab him late. I think that he's going to end up taking over the role by the end of the season from Melvin Gordon. I absolutely believe that. You don't think so? I think so.
No. I think Gordon's going to be the main guy there. But he's also got to put up or shut up this year. I mean, it's one of those things, earn your money.
Yeah. Well, you don't invest pick number 35 in a running back unless you plan on playing him, though. So that's why I don't think they have faith in Gordon at all. I don't think they should. So I think we both agree not to trust Melvin Gordon if you can get him at value, get him at a value. That I don't trust that handcuff in general right now. I just don't think that either of those guys are going to pay off or win you a championship. If you're trusting them, you're just trying to get through the week. That's all. And sometimes you got to do that. You got to do what you got to do. But with that, let's go on. Hey, I'm Drewski. This is Danny the Mouth, and we are talking the AFC West. Look, so you can't talk about the AFC West without talking about the Kansas City Chiefs. And the Kansas City Chiefs have been, Patrick Mahomes and company have been what the NFL talks about, every single day. He's on cereal boxes, and we don't even care about cereal boxes anymore, but he's there. I think he has a football card, and we don't even buy football cards anymore. So, look, tell me about Kansas City. Tell me what they did this offseason to make themselves relevant again after getting just crushed by Super Bowl champion Leonard Fournette and company.
You're an asshole. I'm going to start off with that. You are an asshole. But back to the Kansas City Chiefs. Here it is. They were exposed. Their offensive line, they had injuries, COVID, lost a guy to go play doctor in Canada, which we commend him. But it was one of those things, they got exposed. And the other thing was they kept dropping the ball. Now, these are guys that are good. We know they're good. Hill, Kelsey, that was just kind of a weird moment. And I honestly think it was more jet lag, because normally when teams go to the Super Bowl, they're there 2 weeks early. The Kansas City Chiefs got there like the day before or the 2 days before. So, it was Friday night. They got in Friday night. So you're getting in Friday night, you're going to sleep, you're walking around the field on Saturday. They really didn't get time to adjust really well. So as far as Super Bowl goes, that really was a fluke. If COVID didn't happen, I think that game would have been a lot better. But the fact of the matter is the offensive line was really weak. They went out, made some trades, drafted offensive linemen. They're going to protect their investment. The other thing they did was they restructured Patrick Mahomes' contract to free up money because the NFL did cut the salary cap this year. And because of that, I seriously would have a hard time believing Tyreek Hill will be a Kansas City Chief by the end of the season.
Wow. All right, let's just assume that he will be a Kansas City Chief throughout the season and whatnot. But let's go ahead and just talk about the players one by one and tell me which round, if you're drafting fantasy purposes, which round would you be comfortable drafting? The earliest round you'd feel comfortable drafting them. We're going to start with Tyreek Hill.
Tyreek Hill, I'd be very comfortable going after him in the second round, but would prefer to get him in the third.
Gotcha. So if it's one of those situations, right now he's being drafted in a top 10 ADP, which I think is high. I just have difficulty with a guy, as much as he can go off and get you 40 or 50 points, he can also have 0-point games and just kind of disappear. So I have difficulty drafting somebody that I can't get a stable amount of points in the first round from. Person number 2, Pat Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes, I would actually consider taking him first round. And the reason is, you're going to be pretty much guaranteed 20 points even on a bad week for him. And again, I've been saying this, the NFL and fantasy football have changed so much that when you can get a top tier quarterback like him, you can consider picking him up in the first round and he could lead you to the promised land.
All right, let's go with another one. Travis Kelce.
You know what? I will say this. If you're drafting very low in the first round, I would take Travis Kelce in the first round. And the reason is, to me, there's really 2 or 3 quarterbacks and about 7 running backs that I consider top tier first round draft picks. And if you're in a 12-team league, then you're drafting 11 or 12. It's one of those things. Travis Kelce, you need to pick him up because you're not going to get a top tier running back by then. You're not going to get a top tier quarterback, one of those 3 or one of those 7. Take Kelce. It's a guaranteed 15 to 20 points every single week with the possibility of more.
Question: What happens if he starts playing really well? You get a good offer for a high-end quarterback. What do you do?
You never trade Travis Kelce.
Don't trade Travis Kelce. That's the truth. I'm going to give you one more, and it's going to be Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He was being drafted in late first round, early second round in a lot of leagues last season. Would you put him there, or where would you put him?
Absolutely not. And here's the reason why. Did he have a good rookie year? Yeah, he did. He really had a good rookie year.
It was quality.
But the thing is, what I noticed with him is he could not do what is expected out of a top-tier running back, and that's punch the ball in on the goal line. And the sad part is that's where your points come from. That's 6 points. You're talking about 6 freaking points if you get across the goal line. And he could not do that. I watched a couple of his games last year, and they were starting him on the goal line. And I'm like, seriously? They drafted you for this failure? And that was the thing is, they were trying to show, hey, we got faith in this guy. And they gave him 3 downs, and he failed all 3 downs.
All right, so if you needed a running back, tell me if you would draft this person before or after. All right, are you ready?
Yep.
All right, let's start with Saquon Barkley.
I drafted Saquon first.
Absolutely. CMC, Alvin Kamara, Derrick Henry, Austin Eckler, all these guys you got, right?
Yep.
All right, so let's go from there. What about Aaron Jones?
That is scary because of the whole Green Bay situation, but to be honest with you, I would take Aaron Jones over him.
Okay. Joe Mixon.
Joe Mixon is a mess. Right now, to be honest with you, I would actually go ahead and go Helaire over Mixon.
Wow. Chubb.
Absolutely not. You got to take Chubb.
And then Najee Harris.
Bro, really? You
Well,
got to throw Najee at me?
I'm going to throw Najee at you because I think Najee's an interesting. Is he the guy you take a stab on this year if you have the opportunity to do it, or do
It's one of
you
those things.
let somebody else take that risk?
I really don't want to take that risk on him. I think Harris is overrated coming into this year. There's so much hype behind him, but at the same time, he's going into a really good situation. And the reason I say that, he's going into a situation with Pittsburgh that they have no other running back. Your quarterback is struggling to throw the ball 10 yards down the field, and you have your wide receivers all on TikTok. So your only option is Harris in Pittsburgh.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I like it because what is the number one friend of a running back? Usage. And they're going to use him a lot. He's going to last 3 years in the league. But he'll score a lot of points during those 3 years as he gets destroyed. He's got a big body too. I mean, the thing is, he's got a big body. I mean, he can do some stuff. But
I think the reason I'm not sold on him is that his voice does not match his body. It sounds like you just sucked a whole truck full of helium. Hey guys.
Right on. So anyway, I think it gives us enough on the Kansas City Chiefs. What about their defense?
Their defense is hit or miss. And I mean, there's some games their defense looks really good against really good offenses. And then there's other games they just look like crap. Like last year when they played in Arrowhead, and gave up 40 points to the Raiders. They let Derek Carr throw on them. The defensive coordinator should have been fired.
It was a mess. They end up looking complacent at times. They get a couple of injuries, a couple core injuries, and they just fall apart. So, yeah, they are a team that streaming you could probably find a good matchup and do something with. But I remember grabbing them, I think, for that game, thinking this is a good matchup for the Kansas City Chiefs defense. They should be able to get some cheap points because Derek Carr. Because I don't trust Derek Carr, but we'll get into that on another video or another part of this video. Anyway, streaming, not draftable, but streaming value. Agreed?
Agreed.
All right, let's move on to the next. All right, so we're back. Danny the Mouth, Drewski, and we are talking about the Raiders right now. The Las Vegas Raiders, the team that Danny wishes were a little better than they really are. But it does have one of his favorite players, Josh Jacobs.
You're an asshole. Look, I mean, it's one of those things. If you don't know who I am, you should know I am from Las Vegas, lived there almost my entire life. I love the city of sin. What I don't love is Derek Carr. And the reason I say this is when you break it down, Derek Carr has a really good efficiency because he tries to be like Joe Montana. He can throw the ball pretty good at 10 yards. The thing is, this day and age of the NFL, that's not going to do you any good. They need to get rid of Derek Carr. Take the car to the junkyard and crush it.
Well, the problem is he doesn't have multiple gears. He has you can go to second gear really well with Derek Carr. That car goes to second gear really well. He doesn't go up to third or fourth gear at all. That's the problem.
To be honest with you, I really wish the Raiders would consider giving the ball to Mariota. I think he would do really well in this system under Gruden. Give him a chance. I mean, I can tell you right now, Gruden's not happy with Derek Carr. And the thing is, Mariota is 3 years younger than Carr. You can put him in there. You're going to get a longer life expectancy out of him. Now, when it comes down to the running back, you got Josh Jacobs. You got Drake. I mean, it's just one of those things. Really? What are you going to do here? I mean, Drake really dropped the ball in Arizona. Jacobs didn't really do much last year. I mean, it's really hard to believe that this is going to be a great 1-2 combo punch with the running back.
It's a talented. If the problem with Jacobs is it's the off the field stuff that seems to be getting him in trouble. When he was good, he was pretty good, but by the end of last season, he looked just beat up. And Drake he just disappeared at Arizona. So it could be a valuable 1-2 combo with both of them there, but I don't trust it. I wouldn't trust it in fantasy, at least.
Well, here's what I'm scared, but I would love to see these guys go off. The wide receiver core. And they got John Brown now from Buffalo, and I think he's going to be that deep threat guy for them. But you also have another deep threat guy in Henry Ruggs, and that's what I think they're going to try to do is say, hey, which one are you going to guard deep? And whoever you're going to double team, we'll just throw it to the other guy.
Well, that's the thing, though. But you got Carr who's throwing the ball.
That's why you got to get rid of the guys.
Why have deep threat guys with a guy like Derek Carr?
You need to get a Tanya Harding in there and take out a kneecap. And the thing is, Hunter Renfrow, I had such high hopes for him, and he might have a good game every 6 games. But other than that, he's irrelevant. I don't even consider drafting him anymore. Just he has 1 or 2 good weeks all season, and then he disappears. But now let's talk about the fantasy gold of the Las Vegas Raiders, Waller. Look, I'm going to tell you this right now, people. If there's one thing you should know, getting a top-tier tight end in your fantasy draft is worth its weight in gold. I can tell you right now, I've won a fantasy championship off a tight end than George Kittle 2 years ago. Trophies right here. Now, with that being said, I'm going to tell you, Waller is the number 3 tight end in the NFL behind Kelsey and Kittle. Waller is fantasy gold.
And I tell you what, it's arguable that he's number 3. He could be number 2. He's not Kelsey. And I don't think he's actually as good of a tight. Like, I would rather have Kittle on my team than Waller. I think Kittle is a better blocker. There's other reasons, but Waller could end up being. I wouldn't be shocked if Waller was the number 1 tight end this year. At the end of the year, like, it wouldn't shock me at all. And to say that when Travis Kelce did 1,400 yards, that says a lot. I'm saying this with no. This is not stated with a light heart. I believe that Waller is a monster. He looked amazing last season.
Now, I will say this. Stay away from their defense.
What defense?
Exactly.
All right. With that, let's go ahead. I'm Drewski. Danny the Mouth over here with me. He's mouthing off. He's talking about the things. We're talking about a team that we're excited about in the AFC West. Talking about the LA Chargers, the Los Angeles Chargers, the Chargers that are from Los Angeles. The truly
It doesn't sound right. It doesn't sound right. Los Angeles hates them. I know. I was born there. But we hate the Chargers.
But do you hate this Chargers team?
No, I don't hate them because
does that feel weird to say?
It does. It really does.
All right, so let's talk about them real quick. What is there to like about?
Well, what there's to like is they proved me right. Because last year, I swore up and down that Justin Herbert was the best quarterback coming out of that draft class. And look what happened. He was. To me, he had more talent and football IQ than Burrow, Tua, all of them. And he proved it. And the thing is, even this year, I think there's people that still underrate him, and you could probably draft him cheap in an NFL draft for fantasy. So then Eckler, you gotta love Eckler. I mean, he is a great running back. He's still young, And he's still got a couple more good years in him. He'll get you, especially in a PPR league, he's gold. Then you go down and we got Allen. Herbert's one of his favorite targets.
Keenan
Fantasy
Allen was
gold.
almost irrelevant 2 years ago. Like he had just disappeared.
Now he's back.
He's
Hunter
back.
Henry.
Hunter Henry?
Oh no, they traded him. I'm sorry.
No, he's gone. Yeah.
But they got Jared Cook, who to me, I couldn't wait for the Rams to get rid of him because he was so bad there. And then New Orleans turns him into another great tight end. And now he's with the Chargers. There's a damn good chance he's going to be just as good with the Chargers as he was in New Orleans. Their offensive line is all set up. Everything
much improved from last year.
Exactly. And this defense is not terrible. They have a really good young defensive line.
And they're all healthy. Last year they had some injuries, they had some COVID stuff.
This is a team that can get to the playoffs. They're going to be the number 2 team in the AFC West with the possibility of sneaking past the Chiefs.
That's a hot take, but I've heard crazier. I really believe in that stack of Herbert and Keenan Allen is amazing. Eckler gives him it's a three-dimensional threat at that point. They're looking. I believe in this team. I like them. And you can get them at reasonable prices. You're getting Herbert as the 6th or 7th best quarterback. You're getting Keenan Allen as the 12th or 13th best wide receiver, even though he's significantly better than that right now with Herbert throwing the ball. Eckler is being listed as the 10th or 11th best running back, and I think he's going to be significantly better than that. He was injured a lot of last season. He didn't get back into I think it was week 10 or 11, but when he came back, he was gold again. So look,
this team has been brought back from the dead. They have a quarterback, they have a running back, they have a wide receiver, they have a defensive line, offensive line, they have everything. This is a team that is wanting to play. They are ready. And the thing is, they're not just going to be good this year and good next year. This is a team that is being set up to be dominant for the next 5 to 7 years. They're only maybe a couple pieces away from being a Super Bowl champion contending team.
Coach said they're about 2.5 years away. They're like, we don't want to go all in on one player because we believe that in 2 years we are a Super Bowl contender. And I actually completely believe them.
And to be honest with you, the only thing I really think they need to do, maybe upgrade at the tight end position and then, strengthen up that defense a little bit more, especially in the secondary, because you're going to be playing against really top-tier receiving teams in the AFC, especially with Kansas City. So, it's one of those things. This, in my opinion, will be the last year Kansas City is on top of the AFC West for a couple of years.
Heard it here first. Guys, thanks for joining. See you next time.